So today I will be adding the Ragdoll effect to my player, and I will be adding respawning. Now, I suppose the first thing I should do is make sure I have a backup, because I can't tell you how many times in the past I've been burned by the Ragdoll wizard in Unity. So I'm just going to check that real quick. Looks like everything is caught up on my Git. Perfect. So let's go ahead and start that up. First I need to go into my prefabs and just drag my player into the scene. And it's, I believe, under game object and I think 3D. Yep, there we go. Just drag this over here. All right, so it's looking for a pelvis. That would be the hips. And it's looking for left hips. Probably going to be the leg. Then left knee. And I'll actually have a collider on the foot, but I'm going to drop it in there anyway. And now I need to do the right leg. Going to double check to make sure these are right. Sometimes I mix them up. Okay, good. Now let's do the spine. Looks like we got a middle spine and a head. Let's go ahead and do the middle spine as spine 2. And then of course the head we'll do as head. All right, so total mass is fine. I need to drop in the arms. Let's just do that real quick. That's left arm and left forearm, and then right arm, and then of course right forearm. Hey everyone, how's it going? Hit create. All right, so I added my colliders for me. Right now they're on the default layer, which I don't want. So I need to change that. And it added rigid bodies, but they're not, well, they changed this process on me. These rigid bodies used to be different. Let me just check something real quick. Yeah, like it's adding a different type of rigid body, because this has gravity and chromatic, and I don't think these ones do. Well, they do. I'm just losing my mind. Okay. So the first thing I suppose I need to do is set these all to chromatic, so that way they aren't live. And the only rigid bodies I have on my player are those that are the Ragdoll. So I should be able to just safely set these all to chromatic. And I really like my layers, so I'm going to make a Ragdoll layer. And then set those to that layer. Just this object, don't want to change children. I don't have a VR, that's why I don't have VR tutorials. I've been considering getting one, but I've kind of been on the fence about it. I don't imagine the networking would be really any different for VR though. I need to apply my changes. And yes, I need my health script to somehow handle ragdolling. Now, I'm probably going to make the ragdoll script a separate script because it's not really exactly related to health, right? So let's make that a new script. I'm going to do create. And I'm going to do, come on, Ragdoll. I don't think I'm going to be modifying the Ragdoll a lot, so I'm going to actually manually drop in all of the rigid bodies. And since I only have rigid bodies on my character where it's Ragdoll, that would be pretty easy, rather than use get components in children. So let's do serialize field, private, rigid body, let's do rigid bodies equals new, and I should have made this an array. Rigid body, okay. Rigid bodies which are used for the Ragdoll effect. Going to make a public method. And this is going to be really easy. Just going to go through all of the rigid bodies. And make them non-chromatic. Now make them bounce around and whatnot. Assuming they're set up right anyway. Like I said, I've been burned in the past by it, so who knows, we'll see. Now I need to make a modification of my health script. I mentioned I'd probably do that last video, or last stream rather. The video's not quite out yet. So let me make a new health. I'm going to do Ragdoll health just to keep it simple. And I want all these under the same class. So I'm just going to drop in that code. All right, this is going to inherit from my health script. And I need to add my overrides. Base.awake, and I think I have one more override. Yeah, on health depleted. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is get a reference to my Ragdoll script inside this script. I could probably serialize that or do it on awake. I'm lazy, so I'm going to do it on awake. Ragdoll script, or rather component on this object. All right. And again, I like to keep things out of the mono behavior methods when possible. So I'm going to do another first initialize method. And as usual, initializes this script for use. Should only be completed once. I should probably make a template for that because I do that a lot, like very often. And then I'm just going to do Ragdoll equals get component Ragdoll. And when health is depleted, I'm not going to actually call the base because the base destroys the object. So instead, I'm going to call Ragdoll.perform Ragdoll. And I also need to cancel all the hitboxes, which I think I have a reference to under my help. Yes, I do. Perfect. So enable Ragdoll. Before that, I think I'm going to go ahead and cancel the hitboxes. So I will do base. Actually, no, I'm going to do for I base dot hitboxes dot length, and I will do base dot hitboxes I dot game object dot layer equals, and I need to do global manager dot layer manager dot suppose I'll use the ignore raycast one, which I still haven't changed the name of, so I'll need to do that. And you can't just apply a layer mask to a layer on a game object. You have to do a couple operations on it. And I have a utility script for that, layer mask to layer number. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, because I meant to rename that last time, is I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to rename the temp layer to ignore collision layer. And I'm going to actually add a tooltip here. I know it's super obvious with the naming. That's a good thing. But just in case. Now I need to set that before I forget. Global manager. Yeah, I never made this a scriptable object like I said I was going to, so I still need to do that as well. Ignore raycast. And since I'm out here, I might as well set up my physics for that new layer I just made. So Ragdoll is going to ignore everything but itself and default. So let's just uncheck everything here first, and let's see, we want it to hit default and we want it to hit Ragdoll. There we go. That way it should not bend in towards itself, but it'll also bounce off objects, and I think we'll be good there. Let's see, I just bounced around a little bit, so I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. So I changed my hitbox layers to ignore collision so that they can't be shot anymore. And I commented out the base calls to this so that the transform is no longer being destroyed. And I called perform ragdoll on my ragdoll script, which should set them not chromatic, which means they should begin to roll around. Now let's just take this real quick and plop it on right there. Perfect. All right. Now I don't actually have other players set up in the game, and I'm pretty sure I could actually fire at other players, although I haven't tested it yet. And I'm still not going to test it yet because that's going to require extra work and miscellaneous things. Right now I want to make sure that this mechanic is fine. I have test fired at targets which use the same health scripts and whatnot and the same hitbox scripts, and those worked fine. Everything worked on them, so there's no reason the players wouldn't work too. Now to do that, I think I'm going to go to my health script and add some test code in here. It doesn't look like I have an update yet, so private void update. If do not have authority, oops, this is not a mono behavior, so let's make it one. Or not a network behavior, sorry. Which reminds me, I actually need to do something else. So before I forget, I was actually forgetting something. I made the script, but I didn't add it to the player yet. And I need to remove the health script and add ragdoll health script. And I need to drop in my rigid bodies here. So let's keep this locked so I can do a search for rigid body. Select all these. And I locked it, by the way, by clicking that lock up there in the top right. If you're not familiar with that, it's pretty useful. And then drag them in. And now I can unlock and apply to prefab. All right, so I don't think I need all this open right now. I do need to add that test code though. Dangling components have unfulfilled dependencies. Well, why are they dangling? I don't understand. Okay, so if not base.has authority, return. Now I need to add a kill key. If input.get key, why is it not liking this? Because I didn't capitalize the I. Get key down, key code dot k, and base dot current. Nope, this is the base script. Dot current health greater than 0 because it's an integer, not a float. Then I will do remove health, current health, which will remove all my health and deplete the health, which we'll call this, which will be overridden in my ragdoll health script, and then should perform the ragdoll. However, the issue is this is happening locally, so I need to actually do it on the server. So let me do that. Command make it happen, because this is only going to be a test code, so naming is irrelevant. Make it happen. Okay. I know Mira does support VR, by the way. A lot of their components are for VR anyway. Now, the health doesn't update over the network yet. So that needs to be something I will have to do. Also, when I call destroy, I should probably be calling network destroy. Especially if this is a networked object, which I feel like it's going to be. So let's call network server dot destroy game object if base dot is server. There we go. Okay. I guess let's fire it up, see what happens. I need to make a build. It's going to take a short minute. It's thinking. It's doing its thing. So the client is not going to see the Ragdoll right away. They do have access to their third person body, so I could make it so that they can later. But right now, only the server is going to see it. All right, let me move somewhere a little bit easier to see. This looks okay. Let me just kind of see what kind of craziness happens when I do this. All right, pressing K now. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Okay. That's embarrassing. So let's see what's going on. That's a lot of colliders. Let's first see if it actually changed any of the colliders. All right, so it did change them from chromatic. So I think I already know what's going on. I think that the character controller is breaking it. Okay, so it's trying to call move on it. That's because the motor's still active. So right now, I don't know why my player is staying together, because he shouldn't be staying together. He should be falling to pieces. Oh, it's the animator. Nope. I'm just gonna keep clicking things until it works. Hey, how's it going? I don't know what else it could be right now. There's nothing else in here that controls the pose. Oh, you know, I have two animators. I don't even think that's the animator controller, so I disabled the wrong thing. It probably still is the animator. Oh, he's okay. He's down for the count. All right, perfect. So let's go back to our Ragdoll script and fix that up. Now, we need a reference to the character controller. I'm probably going to have Ragdoll be different on every... Do I want to sync the Ragdoll? Do you guys think I should synchronize the Ragdoll over the network? Let me know and I will get back to that. Let's see, but let's fix the other things up. So I need to... The Ragdoll specifically needs to know about the other things in order to make the Ragdoll work. So, character controller. Okay, we got one yes and one nah. We need more votes. I know there's only a few of you watching right now. Well, it's about 10, but we need more votes. Would it make you guys change your vote if I said I could probably do it really easily because I already have a really cool script that's available to Patreons called Reactive Physics? And I could probably just plop that on there and it would work. Private void. I got confused. What was I doing? Awake. I need to get the character controller. And I'm going to take this, stick it under here. My phone just beeped at me. Give me a second. Okay. Nothing important. It's just telling me that I sold some stock. Got a profit, yay. So let's go ahead and get that component. And what else did I need to do? I needed to turn off the animator, right? So I need to get the body, what's it called? Body perspective. Oh, look. I'm going to apply just to make sure. Body's configuration. That's what it was. I will consider doing it. If I have extra time in this stream, I will do it. Okay, so now I need a reference to the third person animator. All right, so we have 2 yeses and 1 maybe. I think I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'll get it in right in this stream, but I'll add it in. Animator on the third person body. What I'm doing now is I'm getting a reference to those components so that I can disable them. Like you saw me do in the inspector, except I'm making the script do it now. So third person animator equals bc dot third person object dot get component animator. You kind of see how all of this goes together, like how I can just get that animator without really a lot of hassle. This is the whole point of object-oriented programming. If you want to link your things together in a way that makes sense so that you can do things like this. All right, did I forget something else? Was it just the animator and the oh, I need to disable the motor too. That needs to be done in the health script, not the Ragdoll script. So I will get back to that in a second. Let's go ahead and do, yeah, I think that's it for now. So let's do character controller dot enabled equals false, third person animator dot enabled equals false, and I'm going to set all the ragdolls. And also in the health script, I need to disable the motor. Why? Yes, the motor does need to be disabled for the ragdoll to work, but also if the player is dead, I don't want them running around. And to me, that says that's more of a health thing than a ragdoll thing. So let's go ahead and drop that in here. Oh, because the server sees the first person arms as well the third person arms, whereas if you're the client, you only see the first person arms. I'm going to be changing that later though. That's just something I haven't got around to yet. The server will only see the third person stuff when I'm done. I actually set it up at one point, but I thought it was breaking other code, so I took it all out and it was actually something else entirely. But that will get back in eventually. All right, I think that's it. I need to redo a build and try again. I'm going to grab a link to my Discord real quick. You guys are welcome to join. Everything else is in there too under announcements if you need anything else or if you want to ask questions or things like that. So let me just post that in the chat real quick. And my name is Punfish. I'll be at the top of the server, so it'll be pretty easy to find. All right, moving back into view. And that's why the model, this is kind of an animation issue. I turned it the wrong way. I changed the strafe the wrong way. This is an animation issue why it looks like out of sync or it looks a little different, but I'm not too worried about that right now because that's something I can deal with later. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press my K key. Oh, that was pretty good. I'm not upset with that. That works. What do you think it would look like if I opened another client? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. I have not tried to launch 2 clients yet. So if this does not work, I'm going to abandon the idea of it really fast because I don't want to waste everyone's time trying to figure out what's not working. And I don't know why it wouldn't work, but again, I haven't tested it. Now, it's not something I'm really concerned with. What is that? Oh, you know what that is? That's a problem. I need to actually remove my player from the scene and then make another build. He's not dead. His health is just depleted. We can fix him. You probably didn't see my stream from yesterday, but there's a reason I call it health depleted instead of killed or dead or whatever. It's not because I'm like trying to be audience friendly or anything. There's actually a reason for it. Okay, server, client. All right, move my client right over here. I need to fix that animation. Open up another client. All right, so we have the server and 2 clients, and I'm going to go to this one right here, and I'm going to press K. See what happens. Oh, so I didn't actually send the command over to server. So as far as the other player knows, he's still alive. So that I need to actually fix. We need 1 second, please. All right. Hey, Popular, how's it going? So back to the health. I'm already in there. So I need to send it over the network. I could just sync var it, couldn't I? But that won't, if I do that, that won't call the on health depleted. I have to actually remove the health. But the thing is I don't want other players to know the health of their enemies. I know I don't have to necessarily show that information, but I don't really, not only that, but I don't need to sync it over the network. In a lot of shooter games, you might see like bullet hole decals or whatever on enemies, but you don't actually know what their health is. Because that would make it easy, right? Because what if you knew someone had like 10 health? You wouldn't have to risk putting yourself out there to shoot them. You could just try to use some kind of AoE attack that barely brushes them. Yes, I definitely need to consider object pooling without a doubt. I don't know when I'm going to get that in, but I need to do that for sure. I'm going to call it the same thing because this is debug, or test code rather. All right. Let's do a quick build and test this on 1 player first. And if it works, I'm going to test it on 2 players. And if that works, I'm going to try to synchronize the Ragdoll super fast. Right now, when I plan on setting up respawning, I don't plan on I don't plan on pooling just yet. I'm trying to keep this really lightweight so that I should be able to just spawn things in, like instantiate them without much trouble. And so far, it is really, really lightweight. But I do know that I need to add object pooling, and I will certainly try to get to that. Okay. Oops, I gotta start the server first. There we go. All right, moving on over. I'm lost. Here we go. Going to press K. Why? So my body might actually be on the ground right now, but the thing is yeah, I can't move. So it worked, but since you can't see your own body, you have no idea what's going on. So I need to actually disable a ton of other scripts to make it work properly. I'm not going to go through that right now because that's going to take some work. So for now, it's fine. Let's test it against 2 builds. I really need to get it done though. I know I do. I might do that sooner rather than later. It's one of those things that if you don't really take care of right now, I mean, it might be easy to do right now, but if I wait and wait and wait, it'll just get gradually harder to remember all the things I'll have to adapt. And no bueno. All right, I'm going to press K. Oh, look at that. Now, obviously, the Ragdoll is not synchronized. We can see that right now. That looks a little bit different. So let's try it on this guy. Yeah, you can see the legs are slightly different. I think I forgot a call, like a check in one of my things because I can see it moving the body. So that's another thing I have to look. I probably forgot an authority check in there. Now let's try to synchronize those ragdolls. And you know, I think I have a really easy way for that. Oh, I don't have it in this. Okay. I need to import one of my things. So I'm going to go into import package. Drag this over here. Drag this over. Okay, it's not cooperating. Let's try that again. Import package. There we go. Oh yeah, sure. So the import thing pops up on my other screen. Bring that over here. I don't need all of it. I specifically don't want to overwrite some of it. I do need my reactive physics, and I probably need universal. If you ever import partial stuff from one of my packages, always include the universal as well. Let's go ahead and drop that in. Okay, reactive physics object. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's build it just like that. Putting my money where my mouth is. I mean, I made this script, it should work, right? I guess it's more of a UE4 Unreal Engine. A lot of people like that company because they use their own product to develop their games. From personal experience, I do not like their product. It had a lot of issues. It crashed a lot, like a lot. A very unreasonable amount, a lot. They probably fixed a lot of that though. I don't want to hate on them. They probably made a lot of progress. Oh, I landed on my other character. That might have been something else I'll have to work on too, is to make sure character collision doesn't look too funny. All right. That guy's aiming way too high. Aim down. All right, here we go. Let's see if this is all synchronized. Okay. I think it is. I need to fix the fact the head just kind of wobbles there. I probably need to fix the head. I need to fix the fact that the body is, Yeah, I don't really know if that's working or not. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, that one's already set up. Let's try it on this guy. Okay. I don't think it worked. It's kind of weird. It should have worked. Oh, you know why it didn't work? I know why it didn't work. It's because the reactive physics object needs to be on parent objects. So that might have to be something I'll need to change at a later time to make it compatible with these scenarios. So for now, I'm going to remove it. That's exactly why it wasn't working. That's fine though. Now let's get, before I jump into respawning, I probably want to fix the looking and stuff like that. Or maybe I just don't care. Reload. Now I can start setting up. All right, see you later. I can start setting up the object pulling right now, but I'm definitely not going to get the respawning in time if I do that. I don't think I'm going to object pool the characters entirely. I think I'm just going to recycle them for the owner only. So if, for example, you spawn in, let's say a new player joins, it's not going to use a pooled character. It's going to spawn a brand new character. So like if you're spectating that person spawning in, it's going to make a new character rather than pull from the pool. But if you were to, let's say, lose all your health and then you respawn, I think it'll use the same character. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to do a bit of work. Let's think about this. I'm going to need a lot of script references. I kind of wonder if I should just make like a single top parent script that just references all my scripts. That might save a little bit of performance, but I'm not sure if I really want to. That seems kind of hacky. I've done it in the past for components that I use a lot across a lot of scripts, but I'm not sure if I want to do it here. So I need the looking script. Yeah, let me look into that first real quick, because yep, I do not have an authority check in here. And it looks like this is kind of a temporary script, so I need to actually do that. Let's call it update looking. That's super generic, but it's fine. And I need to do if not base.has authority, then return. That's why my bodies were swinging around. Actually, I don't do it that way. I'm going to do base.is client for consistency's sake, because all my other scripts look like this. There we go. Let's go back and check out the other stuff we got going on here. I'm just double checking some things to make sure I didn't make any mistakes along the way. So the looking script probably needs to be aware of the health, but it doesn't necessarily need to, the health doesn't really need to be aware of it, because this shouldn't operate if the health is 0. Let me go ahead and get a reference to the health script. Ragdoll worked out pretty good. I definitely don't think we're gonna get to respawning today though. All right, so I need to also hide the body when the health depletes. I can see myself having to add a lot of these checks. So what I'm probably going to do instead is this. Let me first make my regions here. I'm also going to make probably an event. Action. And do I need to pass in the health scripts? Why not? Might need it. You know, I might not need it though. Let's just say on, I actually have a method down here, on health depleted. I need to rename that because that sounds a lot like an event, but it's actually a method, so I'm going to rename that. Okay. Okay, so now I need to just go to my Ragdoll health and just change that. There we go. And now what I'm going to do instead is under looking, instead of checking this every frame and update, I'm just going to do it here. I'm going to, under first initialize, I don't even need a reference to my health script now. I'm just going to do, I do need it technically, but I don't need to store it. Okay, so when this happens, I'm just going to disable the script. What did I do? There we go. Events are awesome. Events / actions and delegates or whatever you use. They're awesome though. I highly recommend utilizing them as much as possible, or reasonable amount. I think I also want one for on health restored. When health is restored. Okay, so I don't actually have anything that works with this yet, but this is starting to work with some of the pooling. So I need a way to know when the character is up and when the character is down. So I'm going to do health, the on health restored plus equals, and basically same thing, except I'm going to do this dot enabled equals true. All right, so that's hooked up. Which means I could probably go back to my motor script. I could probably go to my animator script too. Let's go over to my animator script. We're going to utilize the crap out of those methods or those events. They're super useful. Yeah, I think I'm going to have all clients and the server listen to it because I feel like I'm probably going to need that down the road. Why do I have this on? Okay, I'm not sure why I have this in both awake on start server and on start client. Don't think that's necessary. Let me just take a quick look at the code. Yeah, so I'm calling this multiple times. Definitely don't need to do that. We'll just call it once. Again, first initialize. I love using this. And I need to basically do this again. And I do need to make the methods for that. Actually, no, I don't. I'm just going to copy them from here. All right, so I don't need to disable the animator controller, but I do need to disable the animator for this character. So what I will do is I will do return animator, which returns whichever animator this character is using. And I would do dot enabled equals true, because this is restoring. Dot enabled equals false. And now I can go back to this script over here. Yes. And go back to this script right here. And I can just get rid of that and get rid of that reference. Don't need it. And I'm going to move the character controller enabling and disabling under the motor, because that's the only thing that touches it. And that kind of makes sense anyway. So I basically, for the most part, just eliminated all this code. Let's go to my motor script. And I probably already have a first initialize here. This is for debug. Okay, I don't think I do have a first initialize. So the controller is only going to be enabled for the server and the owning client anyway. That's why I don't have a first initialize. So what I need to do is just basically just take this code and only apply it towards. I already have a reference to that. I just need a reference to the health one, I guess. Sorry, I know I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm just kind of thinking to myself here, because this class is massive. This is I guess it's not really that big, but it's kind of big to me. This is all the auth movement and stuff that keeps it in sync with the server one-to-one. So let's go to initialize. So if has authority or server only, I need to do this to both actually. So that's fixed update. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay. It was a pain in the butt to get everything working with the server authoritative movement. There's probably still a quirk here and there I got to work on. And that code pretty much carries over, except I need to not only disable the motor, but the controller. And with that said, I can now get rid of this code. And there we go. Now the Ragdoll script only handles the Ragdoll. So I think that was a pretty good move. As long as it works. I need to make sure it works. I probably broke a couple things, I'm not going to lie. There's a really good chance I did. But let's find out. First I'm going to do a client host test. Okay, so I can still look around. I don't think the looking one worked. That's still enabled. Yep, so I need to fix that. I can't move, so let me open that back up, take another look. I can't move, so the motor one must have disabled, because I can't move now. Motor's gone, character controller is still enabled. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Let me check something. All right, so that's actually not, it's not receiving the depleted call. So either this isn't running or the event's not running. I don't think I called the event. Let me go take a quick look at that. I'm pretty sure I didn't. No, I did not. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this code and just do on health depleted dot invoke. And I think if I want to destroy an object when it loses health, I'll make another class for that instead. Which means I need to go back to my Ragdoll health and also call base.healthDepleted. That way the event will fire, and get rid of this code where I disable the motor. I don't need that anymore because that's actually done in the motor on the callback. Let's do another test and hopefully it works out. Okay, moving around, pressing K. I got a null exception. What did I do? Return animator. Not return null. Why did that return null? That shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't be happening. Let me take another look at it. The animator it's using is probably going to be this one. I probably need to make it do both if I am running as a server. Well, that's kind of weird. This code is called a lot. It doesn't throw errors, so I wonder why it's throwing errors suddenly. And it's not like the animator is being destroyed. Yeah, so it's being called a lot and it's working, but the animator is not being destroyed or anything. Oh, why is it working? Why is it doing that? Maybe it's this code? No, it can't be that code. Take another look and see what I could be doing wrong. Oh, you know what? I need to actually disable the third-person animator no matter what. Because that way, if I am a spectator or the owner and I want to show the ragdoll of the person that's dying, I need to have the third-person thing work. So I'm going to disable that one, and also if base dot has authority, I'm going to also disable the first one. All right, let's see if that works. Okay. It's not finding. Okay, I see what's going on. So it's only finding the first person animator if is first person. So I should probably find both animators, and that seems like I don't really want to do that. That just seems like it's kind of excessive, and I'm not really changing them, so I'm going to just serialize them for the sake of performance. Take this right here, drop it in there. Okay, now I'm going to take this here. What was going on is that it's only finding the animator that's being used, and since we're probably going to potentially be using both of them at one point, I'm just going to serialize them both instead of finding the animators. I think once I get this up and running, I'm going to go ahead and call it for today, or at least for the stream. All right, moving. Press K, got an error because I didn't assign the variables. That's normal. That was just me being forgetful. The reason I didn't serialize them to begin with is because I thought I'd be doing a lot of restructuring and stuff, and I actually did at the beginning, but now I'm pretty content on how everything's going to be laid out. I don't think I'll need to worry about that. All right, I got my OKs. Why did it call so many times? That's weird. Let me go look at this real quick. I'm only invoking it once. I can expect it to probably call twice because, oh, you know what it is? It's because whenever I press the command, it's calling the command, which is going to remove the health, and that will invoke it once. And then it's calling the RPC, which will invoke it again. So 2 times makes sense if I'm acting as a client host, but 4 times, not sure. So let me just look at that real quick. Okay, pressing K. Got invoked twice. Perfect. That's what I expect. I wonder if I subscribed to it twice like an idiot. I feel like that's probably exactly what I did. Nope, I didn't. Well, I'm confused. Let me just add another debug. It's only being invoked twice. Why am I receiving it 4 times? All right, let's look at this. So this is happening twice locally, and it's happening twice over the network. I think, let me just take a look. Ragdoll. Oh, I think that's our culprit right there. Nope, that's normal. Which is then triggering the health depleted. You can drag this up a little bit. I really wonder if it's because I'm just running as a client host. So I'm going to redo it on the server. I'll check one more thing. Okay, I'm going to make a quick build. I'm going to run the build as a server, and then I'm going to run the editor as a client and see if it's still happening multiple times. And it only fired off once. So it must be an issue with running as client host, which I'm fine with, because I'm not going to run a client host for this project. I have no intentions of making that a thing. So if that's something you plan, I'm sorry. But I'm not going to have client host support on this. And it's only calling once on the server too when it's not a client host. So it's good. We are solid. Now I need to go back to my scripts, and I have... Let me add a to-do here. Do not remove health if not owner. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's change this. Do not send health updates to non-owners. Send client RPC when health is depleted to all. I talked about earlier why I wasn't doing that, but if someone's new, I don't want players to know the health of other players, potentially enemies anyway. Actually, you know what? Yes, I do, because if you want to make this a team game, you're going to need that. So let's just do it that way. I could just not send health if you're, or not update it if you're not on a team. That's a whole different story. So let's keep that the way it is for now, I suppose. And the other thing, I was still able to shoot whenever the player had died. So that would be my weapon handler. So again, this code's going to look very familiar. Probably already have it first initialized. I do. I'm actually using a health script already, but why? So I can set the hitbox layer. That's okay, cool. So let me just go like this. That, put an underscore, underscore. Take these methods. Actually, I'm going to take them from the looking one because that's more to what I want to do. Drop it under weapon handler, and there we go. All right. So now if I, off myself, I shouldn't be able to fire my weapon. All right, I did it. I can't fire, I can't move, I can't rotate. Everything is okay. I do need to make it so that I don't see my gun anymore though when that happens. And I would like to show the third person body at that time. I am not going to do that right now though. I might do that off screen. I still need to add respawning, which I never got to because I needed to make this work so that I could enable and disable the player for respawning. So I got a little too ambitious on thinking I could get that all done in one stream because it's going to be a little bit more work than that. But still got a lot done. Don't know if I'm going to do that off screen or if I'll do it in another stream later, but I guess we'll just find out. Thanks everyone for watching and have a great rest of your day.